to the Movie Lighthouse, shining a light through the fog of film. My name's James.
I'm Nikko.
I'm Wyndham.
I'm Laurie.
Alright, so guys, what are we doing here?
I think we're here to share our love of the movies, a particular kind of movies, and specifically, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I love sci-fi. I did used to love horror movies. I kind of have slightly moved away from them a bit, but I've always had a penchant for sci-fi. A penchant, yeah. Right, I can see how this is going to be.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I think for me it's about highlighting great film, but I think there's a duty of care owed to also highlight awful films that people think they should watch but definitely shouldn't.
Those deadly rocks. Those deadly rocks of the lighthouse, yeah, just shining that beacon. Come and have a look at this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Because nowadays there's so many formats to, get media and get your access to these kind of things. Whereas it was probably kind of simple. I'm knocking on a bit now.
I think it's fair to say we were all knocking on a bit.
We're knocking on a bit. So we had the video man that will come round. The video man that will come round probably like once or twice, get that opportunity to go to the cinema.
You had a video man that hold on. You had a video man that came around.
Yeah, he came around
To the house.
Yeah, like a car. I had like a car, and all the kids would run out.
An electric car.
Fit the back of the boot.
Did you say an electric car?
Are you from the future?
Yeah.
Did I put?
Or was it the milkman?
Say electric?
It was a milk.
Right, hold on a minute. So,
I was just thinking,
Bleep out electric.
so
That's
like the
misleading.
milkman, you had a man who came round.
Yeah, so we had the video man. We had the milkman. We had the video man, the postman, and then there was this other guy as well.
Right.
Looked
What,
a lot
Dad?
like me.
This other guy that came around once a month to just check up.
But yeah, just like, and then obviously 3 channels on the TV, and then it got radical. We had 4 channels.
Woo!
So that was kind of my limitation to film,
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
now it just seems nuts, and if we can highlight anything that might not necessarily be on an immediate radar or a Facebook list that you get in
Yeah.
the timeline kind of thing.
Well, I think there's that, and as you were saying, Wyndham, there is a duty, because some of the truly awful movies will get forgotten with time, and I think it's very important to make sure that there are some that particularly get remembered. Something that I feel quite strongly about is when. Okay, so we're a similar age here, and I certainly remember being not allowed to watch a whole load of movies at the cinema. And suddenly there was a video shop, which I suppose was a similar thing to your video man. There was a video shop where you could hire these movies, and there was absolutely no legislation on who could hire what. Suddenly you were allowed to hire, and it lasted 3 or 4 years before Mary Whitehouse or whoever came along and said, "Oh no, you can't be watching these movies. They've got far too much sex and violence in them." But there was a time where, for 3 or 4 years, suddenly you could watch everything. And I remember going to these shops like with my mum, and she'd say, "Oh, what would you like to watch?" I say, "Oh, well, I want to watch Bloodbath in Sorority House," or whatever it was.
Which is going to be covered.
We like your mum.
Obviously completely inappropriate for a 13, 14-year-old, or very appropriate, who knows?
Very
But-
appropriate.
Yeah, but seemingly the wrong thing for someone of that age to watch. And there'd just be some guy behind the counter saying, "Absolutely, yeah, no problems," and nobody batted an eyelid.
Yeah.
And I think there's a generation of us that are kind of a bit fucked up because of that.
Yeah, my mum was Mary Whitehouse, so I never got a chance to see any of those films
Shame.
until I was 18.
Right.
She was quite shy. I remember once going to a video store, and with no real, I would have been 15, 16, and there was a film called When Hell Comes to Frogtown.
That's such a good name.
And the lead character was called Sebastian Hell or something, and he was some hard
Now it
soldier
makes sense.
guy, and he went to a frog town. But because my parents are quite religious, the hell in the title said no.
Oh, my
Right.
days.
And I've yet to go back to it, so potentially
Could you have watched films with plenty of sex, guts, and horror in them if they hadn't had a biblical reference in the title?
Quite possibly.
Or,
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Quite possibly.
All right,
It's like missing in action. That you would have been fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've got a question for you. Just one question before we kick off. And it's quite a tough one, but if you had to choose a film that defines you, what would it be?
What do you mean? Defines as
Well,
personality?
that's all I've got written there. I haven't got anything more. So for me, I'm going to choose The Shining because it's my all-time favourite film. It's by my favourite writer, one of my favourite directors, highbrow Kubrick.
It's not highbrow.
Yeah, he is. He's not.
Well, no,
not
it's,
highbrow.
I know what it is.
And I just saw it from start to finish. It's brilliant. And I watched it for the first time when I was like 8 or 9. So it was brilliant and scary and all that shit. And now it's amazing, even now. So that's for me. It
stands the test of time, doesn't it? You can
really
come back and watch it later, whereas there are some things that you may have watched at an earlier age, and when you come back to them 20...
That doesn't stand the test of time. Killing people with farm machinery, not a good
But
film.
as a boy from a farm...
it was very terrifying at the time.
I guess for me, I would probably have to go, and certainly some of you know this, I'd have to go with RoboCop. It's my favourite film of all time. I've watched it more than I've watched any other film. It is that kind of... It was the first time... Aliens was the first time I watched a film of kind of action, horror, gore, sci-fi, all in one. But RoboCop for me was that first kind of, oh my, this is amazing. This is mesmerising, it's violent, it's bloody.
Fuck yeah, it's violent.
It's amazing.
And at the same time, it's kind of an interesting little allegory. It's kind of got an intelligent message somewhere in there, enough to keep you engaged.
The media, isn't it? The media,
and the media,
corporation, and
consciousness.
The
The fact that they put consciousness in this machine. There's someone's consciousness in there. What is it about the difference between the flesh and blood of a brain and the ability to say I, and it means something? There's some deep issues in there, which I think kind of come back to, James isn't a big fan of Blade Runner. This is something that...
I've never seen it. I keep falling asleep every time I put it on.
Yeah. Well, I'd count that as not being a big fan, which I find completely weird. I love the idea of taking science fiction, which, to some people may seem like quite a superficial genre, and you're discussing the deep issues in it. And I think in RoboCop, there is a deeper issue in there, or a couple of deeper issues in there.
And you look at the preeminence now of Philip K. Dick and the Channel 4, is it? I think it just got that series of 10 short stories of his. So there was
the thing on Amazon as well, the one about if the Americans...
Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle, that's right, yeah. Which I thought was great fun. I don't know if anybody else here watched it.
Yeah, I've read it. Oh, yeah, it's good.
I didn't read it. Is it a good book?
Yeah.
Right, great series.
Well worth picking up.
All right, so Laurie, what about you?
Behave. I'm genuinely... it's tricky as hell. Genuinely, I don't know. It could be Blade Runner, probably because obviously, Star Wars was such a thing.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, kind of, Star Wars, I was completely immersed in that. That was my DNA. And then you get the next part of the story that just blows you to pieces. The look of it, the end of it, it's a bad ending. Han Solo's screwed up. Fuck me, where am I going now? Kind of thing. So Empire Strikes Back, I suppose, just spun me off. And then I caught Blade Runner. Oh, it's a film with Han Solo in it. I'm watching Blade Runner. And I didn't have a pissing clue what I was watching or listening to. But again, it just kind of sort of ate me up and just opened up my head, really, in a huge way. So I suppose if I quantify anything, it's kind of that walk from Star Wars into Blade Runner, but then into just tons from there.
We can't wait to take a walk inside your head. That'll be interesting for everybody who's listening. And Nikko, what about you?
Well, it goes back to that time of first being able to watch movies that had previously been inaccessible, and although there were a few that really blew my mind at the time, Scanners really, my head exploded when I saw that, which is kind of appropriate. But I think it's going to be The Thing. It's just got the whole paranoia of who can you trust and what's going on with the people that are your team and your mates that aren't actually, and not only are they not your mates, but they could at any second turn into the most foul and despicable and terrifying space aliens ever. And whilst there were loads of films of that era that I really enjoyed, that one has stuck with me as an idea in the back of my mind ever since. And the music was so haunting. You just got and you've just got this the snowscape and the desertedness of it and the wilderness of it and the coldness, and it's all encapsulated in that dum dum. This really simple, repetitive, driving, unpleasant but beautiful music. Which I think really encapsulates the Arctic kind of vibe of it.
Well, with any luck, we'll be able to get to review all those films, but it all depends on the luck of the draw. I'm going to explain the rules of how this podcast works in a minute, but before we do that, I thought we'd have a little bit of news.
Okay.
Lighthouse
Right, so I've got some news here for everybody. First one, It, the blockbuster adaptation of Stephen King's novel about a child-eating clown, has pushed past The Exorcist to become the highest-grossing horror film on a domestic basis. Right, so anyone seen it?
No.
I haven't seen the original.
Yeah, I did try and invite all of you to come with me to see it. I've now seen.
How did you try and do that?
Yeah.
Is there a pigeon on its way to me? Is it?
Do you know what message you all said? Let's all go see It. Maybe you didn't understand that I meant the film. But
I thought you were talking about the previous text. Let's all go and see it. What?
I thought you wanted us to check out our IT, make sure that our technology was all up to date.
Well, I've been to see it twice. I liked it so much I went back again. I thought it was brilliant.
So you get extra brownie points for that.
Yeah. So the guy who plays Pennywise.
He's one of the Skarsgård brothers.
Skarsgård,
who seem to be taking the film world by not quite storm, but his brother, who's this very handsome Germanic-looking Scandinavian, has just got an Emmy for.
No, just a note for the podcast. Nikko also looks a little bit Germanic Scandinavian. Is that why you think he's good looking?
Not quite as handsome as. Yeah. I'm better looking. But, yeah.
It's an acquired taste.
Well, I'm glad you've acquired it.
But the guy Pennywise was brilliant. And they go for like a Needful Things vibe. All the kids are just brilliantly cast. The story's great, and I highly recommend you all go and see it.
How does it compare to the original?
Well,
it was a made-for-TV film.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
made-for-TV. Tim Curry starred as a clown, and the guy from the Waltons played like the adult Bill Hanscom or something, or Bill whatever. Well, I loved the original. I thought it was brilliant, but you go and see this and it just pisses all over it. Right away, Pennywise is just so much better. The way they.
So I have to watch the original before.
Well, I don't think so. I think you should just go and see the new one, because in the original, you've got kind of two timelines. You've got the group when the Losers Club when they were kids, and then the Losers Club when they were grown up 30 years later. And it's kind of split all the way through the film in the original one. In this version, it's just the kids in the first film. There's going to be another in 2 years' time, and that's going to be the adults. And it really works. And they've moved it. So in the original, it was set in late 50s, I think. And this one, it's set in the late 80s. So it's, it's kind of our time. It's funny, but also, quite scary, quite nerve-wracking, so I highly recommend it.
I saw the trailers popping up on my Facebook feed,
Yeah.
And I was excited. I'm a massive fan of the Stranger Things. Absolutely love Stranger Things. The nuance, the nostalgia that tapped into. So I loved it, and then immediately I could see in the trailer. Oh, okay, you're kind of doing this thing. So first of all, I was like, oh, yeah.
What's really interesting
there is
that Stranger Things kind of cashing in on this nostalgia about Spielberg stories, Spielberg films, and Stephen King kind of literature. So the idea that this is quite similar to that, it's almost like it's being influenced by things that it influenced. It's kind of gone round full circle, hasn't it?
Yeah. You've got one of the same Stranger Thing guys in there. But to be honest, actually, no, I was like, okay, I could watch this. But then there was Pennywise, the shot of him, he seemed a little bit too, like, as a clown, right? So Tim Curry's clown looked like a clown, yeah? He looked like a guy that was a clown. Initially, obviously, he gets more and more, you get weird eyes and some sharp teeth along the way. Whereas this clown's a little bit like, whoa, I'm a clown. Like sort of, I don't know, Forbidden Planet, like the Joker where it gets a bit cool, a little bit crazy, and he's got these lines that go up to his eyes. It's like a bit insidious, a bit, updated. It's like, oh, fuck off.
Well,
kind of thing.
As none of you have seen it,
I love the original.
Any of you can?
I love the original, and I love Stephen King, like Salem's Lot. That format of having this sort of TV.
Yeah, but things have got to move with the times. It works for us because we remember it when we were kids.
Yeah,
so it's got that memory factor for us.
I need to see it.
Yeah, definitely go and see it, and let us know next month.
You say things have got to move with the times, although not everything has to be remade. I mean, some things were all
Really
right at the
shouldn't
time.
have been
Yeah.
made.
Well, talking of that, my other piece of news, I've only got one more piece of news.
Okay.
It's the future.
Is that Jamie Lee Curtis is to star in yet another Halloween.
film.
Hooray!
So,
Oh, we
so
love
we've
the
had
Jamie.
we do
remakes.
without
We've had, I think
another
we've had two
Halloween.
remakes. We've had, obviously she was in Halloween 2, and then she came
2
back
point
for Halloween
water.
H2O.
H2O, yeah.
Which was 20
Did
years
you
old.
call it Halloween water?
What do we think of Laurie Strode going back and being chased by the babysitter?
I don't care.
No?
No.
Oh, I'm definitely going
It
to go and
never-
watch it. I'm
It
definitely
never
going to go
really
watch it.
captured my imagination
Right.
like some of the
Jamie
other
Lee Curtis
Friday the
was a-
13th and things like that. That did, and this didn't for whatever reason. Don't know why.
Oh
But
my
I
gosh.
don't care.
The Babysitter Madness. To be honest, when I watched it, because I'd watched Nightmare on Elm Street, all the Friday the 13th, everything, and then I watched Halloween, and it was a little bit disappointing after seeing all the others, which kept moving and like made it more and more. But now I'm older, kind of watching it, it's just brilliant. Obviously, the music.
Halloween.
Who's the music by?
Can't remember.
Carpenter, the music.
Carpenter, yeah, John
again,
Carpenter,
that's
isn't
it,
Yeah.
He did it himself.
Yeah.
On his Bon Tempi.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I think it's a keyboard called a
It's only
Juno.
4
I
notes,
think
isn't it?
it's Juno.
There was a couple of Junos. There was the Juno 6 and there was the Juno 106.
I wonder which one he used.
There
It's
was also
one
a
of
Juno
them.
60, but it was a very different
It's
kind
one
of
of
thing.
them. It's one of them.
I could really bore you with specific layouts of the difference between voltage controlled oscillators and digitally controlled oscillators.
It's very
I
important
won't go
stuff.
there. I won't
So,
go there.
so you're up for it.
I'm definitely
Okay.
up for it. Yeah, definitely up for it.
I'm up to see it if it's a school outing. Definitely.
Well, you can't just jump aboard. If
Well, I thought-
you-
well,
Yeah, we
Why
can.
not?
We can go.
We're in the same room doing this.
I think
together.
what Wyndham was suggesting is that we go and watch
All
it.
right. I only want
actually-
full commitment.
Next time you proposed going to see a film,
Yes.
potentially suggest a couple of dates so that we know that's what you're asking.
Well, okay.
Well, you opened up with Jamie Lee Curtis, didn't you? And I
Yeah.
think I might be wrong here, but I think she was originally born a boy. And
There
they tucked
is
it
some
back in.
androgyny rumours about that, but I'd be.
Yeah.
Allegedly, that's your words,
Yeah.
not the podcast. By the way, don't get
Yeah.
sued.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I did watch Trading Places again a few weeks ago. With Jamie Lee
Oh,
Curtis, and
she's
that
got
is
some
a-
tidy. Oh, yeah. Right. It's a good film.
It is.
So,
Well, now that you come to mention it, she did have quite a large pair of
She's
hands.
got wonderful.
You know, her hands were definitely large. Yeah, so she could well be. But having said that, this is the first I've heard of this. And
Apparently it's
so.
news.
it's
It's one of those
right,
confusing
hot
ones.
news.
Yeah, it's not one of those standard ones. Like she's
No.
like, Jamie, you're like a full-on boy, but it was like you. Oh my god, you're like kind of a boy, kind of thing.
Right,
And then
okay,
something
yeah,
had to be corrected.
The whole kind of giant clitoris thing.
Yeah.
All right.
But then Halloween.
I think we're going
I
down
just want to detail. I'm
just
just
wanna
curious, what
quickly
kind of
say
detail
that-
do we want to go into this?
I do want to quickly say, so Halloween, I get really excited. I freaking love Halloween. And like now, where are we now? Kind of getting to the end of September, I start thinking about what I want to watch when I get to that weekend and all this kind of thing. And it's a bit tricky. Well, I've got loads of great horror films, but Halloween is such a good one. It's such a good one because the soundtrack is very, very basic, but it's great. I love it. I love Halloween, the first one. I recently bought Halloween 2, which is a direct connection from the first one, so you can kind of call it
Yeah,
the same
again,
film
it's
in a
like
way.
10 minutes
And then
after the first one, isn't it?
And then you get Halloween motherfucking 3,
Love
which
Halloween
is
3.
probably one of the best bloody films ever made.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But hopefully we'll be able to review that. Right, okay, so me, Wyndham and Laurie we got tickets to go to the Alien Experience, or was it Alien Covenant Experience at Madame Tussauds.
Yeah.
So Nikko couldn't make it,
Escape.
unfortunately.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, very disappointed. Very disappointed, Nikko. You lose marks for that. But we did make a little recording, so I think we should listen back to that and see what we think. So, Nikko, roll AT. Is that the right expression?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so I'm James and I'm here with Laurie and Wyndham.
Hello.
I'm here.
And we have secured some
Oh, no, I'm
tickets to go and see the Alien Adventure Experience, whatever you like to call
Alien
it.
Escape, I think it is.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
At Madame Tussauds in central London. How are we feeling, guys?
I'm feeling quite excited to be going back into Madame Tussauds again, because the last time I went in there was probably about 8.5. I've got big, strong memories about that gaff.
Well, how,
Yeah.
how do you feel about going to do the Alien Experience?
Yeah, but that'll be... Well, we'll see.
Okay, we're missing one of our members, Nikko. So, Sad you're not here, Nico, but we're going to do it in spirit for you.
Love you.
And all I can really say is that I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not the Aliens experience, but that's
See,
fine.
do you like Aliens? I like Aliens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be good.
Alien-
Is anyone a little bit nervous?
Alien experience. That
I
would be something,
was,
wouldn't it?
and then I googled it, and you have to be older than 15 to go in.
Yeah.
And I'm significantly older than 15.
Okay, I'm
I
a
am
little bit nervous.
It'd be good.
What about?
There'll be a whole load of dressed up actors.
Scary, wasn't it?
It'd be good.
It's not going to be
Oh, no, they
scary.
won't. They'll be
It's not
going.
going to be scary. It's not going to be scary.
Okay, so we're gonna come back after we've done it, and we're gonna feed back about what we thought about it.
Yeah.
And we also might get to see a few special features from the upcoming Alien Covenant film, which I've seen. I thought it was all right. What do you guys think?
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it either.
So I'm the only one that's seen it. So
So good prep.
great.
Well done.
Right, here we go.
Let's crack on.
We're off. Okay.
Is that it?
All right. So we've just left, and it's probably the
is that
worst
it?
attraction.
25 seconds?
25 seconds of complete dirt. It was terrible.
Well, so it could have built. It could have built.
Yeah, I
Had it
thought
been
it was
longer.
building. They're in trouble with this attraction. My
why they give it
tension was
tickets
up,
away.
and then it finished.
I'm confused why it's next to all the celebrities. Surely this should be part of the Chamber of Horrors,
This,
right?
and this should be like an alien thing, right?
Well, no, you can't go
not
over
Alien.
Alien, can you?
Can you-
So I
what,
thought
is
that
that
was,
'cause the
I
film
thought that
isn't
was
that good?
alright, a nice little tidbit. A like little
Well,
soup salt.
we need a refreshing beverage.
Yes. Gonna get a water.
All those aspartame lovers out
Thank you
there.
very much.
2/3 aspartame heavy.
Is this a spot?
Actually, no, 1/3. It's fine. Diet
does it
Coke.
mean?
That ain't got aspartame. It's water in it. What are
You
you
say it's a bit
crackhead?
smart water.
Sparkling
Smart.
water. Excuse me. I can't believe that they are selling that,
That
as
is
an attraction.
horseshit. Excuse me, my language.
Yeah, that's just.
Well, no, that's like a little, little walkthrough, isn't it? They wouldn't charge you any more for a ticket
You
for
don't
that,
charge
would
for
they?
that, do you?
They can't charge you. for
No,
that.
that's just like a little hallway.
But the
with
way they
some-
built it up, you thought it was going to be a little bit more than what it was.
So if you get the whole idea,
Should we go back through?
if you get the whole idea.
Should we go back through?
For what?
Just to take extra notes?
Well, there won't be any extra notes to take. No, it was you walked into 3 rooms and someone jumped out in one of them and went, "Oh, you got to keep moving," and then you kept moving, and then you were out in the other side.
Well, you had the other actress that was very distraught.
She was distraught. She was distraught.
She got you a stiffy.
She got me concerned about her well-being.
you
Laurie.
chubbed up.
Do you know what I expected? I expected to be walking through the dark
Yeah, me too.
We did a
and
bit.
for someone to jump out on you. Not really.
We had a little bit of that.
I mean, I would say that was a PG.
Actually, no. Let's stand back and look at the faces that are coming out. 2, very, very. They seem
Not
a
very
little bit.
happy.
Yeah, they're kind of like a little bit grumpy about it.
If you built yourself up to go and see the alien
I had built
experience
that
here,
up. I thought that was
Yeah.
going to be
See, I
significantly
hadn't.
better than that.
So I
thought that
like
was
a
gonna be-
candle.
And I hadn't
but it wasn't
seen the
even
film.
long enough.
Haven't seen the film, but I think if you're going to walk somebody through a room, you want that room to add tension. So you want it slightly longer,
did
to add a bit of
add
tension,
yeah.
and then another kind of closed room.
So you're saying the timing of it,
It was in total too short.
the scale of the actual physical environment. So a larger hallway. You're
Well,
looking
it should have
for.
been more things. We were
the
in and
timing
out
was
in
too
about 30
quick.
seconds.
So the biggest scare I had was right at the beginning
Yeah.
when the woman was going open the door.
Yeah.
Not at the beginning, the second
Yeah,
room,
yeah,
open
yeah,
the
yeah.
door, and I went to open the door, and your hand was already on the handle. You scared me more than that.
That wasn't my hand.
I did wonder why you only had one finger.
It's a shame. Do you think we can look around the rest of Madame Tussauds?
No, they were shooters. Oh, where are we doing the Q&A?
What Q&A?
Well,
There's a Q&A?
There's a DVD special
I
feature
don't
bit.
understand why it's going on ahead of Lady Gaga, Britney Spears,
Well-
and Rihanna.
Oh, guys, so
I have to say, because I wasn't there, I've not had any feedback from any of you guys about what that was like, what I missed out on. And I don't know if I'm more disappointed now that I know it was crap. You know, just the idea of everyone meeting up and then kind of coming out afterwards and going, oh, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
it was just over so quickly. It was, it's such an anticlimax.
It was like a queue, and then you do that whole diddly, you know, the little slalom thing.
Yeah.
And Fassbender's standing there with a clipboard along the way, and he's surprisingly not short. He's not short, but he's smaller than you think. And he's got a really big head. Really big, like shark head. And then you go...
Do you think they just made a really shit model of him, or do you think that's actually what Michael Fassbender looks like?
You would have thought that was scale, wouldn't you?
I think those models are very reflective of how much the model maker likes the celebrity.
Oh, really?
Some of them were really good, and some of them were not very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you just sort of go up a thing, you do a left, do a right, do a... Oh, you're out.
Yeah, you did best.
There was too...
So
it was too much of a build-up on Alien Covenant escape experience. Mm-hmm. And with things like Secret Cinema, if you've been to those kind of things, where they go full noise, depending on the film, they're brilliant. Yeah, I think it's just changed our expectation. If you claim it to be an experience, you probably ought to make it an experience.
A bit more of a...
It was a short walk, some good-looking models.
Had you paid for it, would you have felt a little bit ripped off? I don't know how much it was going for.
Yeah,
was
that right?
Well, no, see, this is my
I
point.
felt ripped off getting free tickets for it. Yeah, because you had to pay for a travel card.
Yeah, but this is my point, though. You don't pay for that separate experience, escape, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you've already paid
we
like
talked about this for hours afterwards.
40 quid or whatever it is to go to Madame Tussauds, and I'm a big advocate of it because there's a lot of beautiful artwork in there, and to have that experience of going right up to, you know, these famous people, and when you get, I taught you the trick, didn't I?
You did teach us the trick.
When you get right up close to them, you get proper eye contact. You're about 4 inches away from them,
and then you go in for the kiss.
And no, but there is that moment where it gets electric. You've got that experience. You're looking. You know, there's obviously primal stuff in our body.
Yeah,
but that's got nothing to do with the alien experience.
So this is why I'm a fan of Madame Tussauds. It should stay. It should remain. The tickets are very expensive. The tickets are very expensive, but the tickets won't go up because that's there or not.
But equally, you wouldn't come out thinking, I've got more of my 40 quid's worth because that's there.
Yeah,
than if it weren't.
And people will be going.
Yeah, you would. Of course you would.
People will be
if
going.
You're a kid, yes, you would.
Because I reckon they've probably got those alien models somewhere else in the building anyway. They've just put.
People will be going.
He's rattling
to
people.
see that
Listening to this, he's rattling.
That's the bottom line, isn't it? Have they sold it in such a way that someone will be going because of the alien experience?
Then
they're idiots.
Someone's going to come and they're going to walk around and see loads of waxwork models of B-list celebs and the Queen, and then go down a smoky corridor.
15 seconds of checking out some aliens.
You do get.
So if you want to go and see Madame Tussauds, go and see it, have a great time. Don't go for the alien experience. It's just not worth it.
That's true.
Yeah, don't go specifically for that.
That was quite good. So they had little model face hookers you could put on.
Oh yeah, I saw some pictures of that.
Yeah.
You actually put them on, or are they
not very hygienic?
You kind of held them onto your face, and there was no kind of wipe.
I had worms 2 weeks later. Apparently, that's the gestation period of a worm actually to come out your anus. So
is it? Did the worm come out of your anus? It didn't burst out of your chest or anything.
Don't know how lucky you were.
Yeah.
I'm lying. Is actually my daughter had worms.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I'm sure everyone's going to be pleased to hear about that. Yeah. Right,
I think we can draw a line under it and saying it don't go for that reason alone.
Yeah, and it's fine that it's there.
All right, so let's get on to the meat of this podcast, how it's going to work. All right, so I have got some rules here, which none of you guys know about yet, so I hope there's not going to be any anarchy going on here.
How many of my clothes do I have to take off?
We're all naked already, what are you talking about? Okay, so...
Love that G.
I've got here a bag of balls. Okay.
To my previous point.
It was, right, so I came up with this concept of having like the DeLorean code breaker and it'll be great and we can have a sound effect, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought it's shit, so...
Did a DeLorean have the code breaker?
No, that's another reason. It didn't have a code breaker, it just had a yearometer. So, instead, I have got a bag of balls and there's 100 balls in here and they all relate to a subject. So, the idea is we've got 100 subjects to choose from. Most of them are years. So I've chosen years from 1957 to 2007, I think, and then some other categories.
So half of them are years.
We're gonna, I suppose Mr. Predicty. Right, so we're going to choose a category, and then this month, you three then have 10 minutes to choose a film from that category or year. All right, and then we're gonna come back, and you're gonna pitch your film to me. And then I'm going to choose which one we focus on next month. Okay, does that sound clear?
Yep.
And then next month we're going to review the film, we get to vote on it, all that kind of stuff. And we'll rotate presenters and all that kind of stuff. Does that sound about right?
Sounds great to me. Sounds great to me.
Okay, so who wants to pick the first ball? Oh, and the other thing is, because I've seen this on loads of podcasts, and they like pick a ball and they don't like the result, and then they just change it. So there's none of that. So
none of that. What the results are anyway, right? So
we're not going to do any of that.
But if we don't like the subject, we've got to get on with it.
Once we have grappled with your ball sack, there's no going back.
Nico, do you want to play with my balls?
Yes, please. So just one or two?
Just one.
Just one. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the third.
Okay, it's number 14.
Number 14. Okay, number 14 is 1994.
94.
All right, so we're going to come back after this short break.
I think that wasn't the best year.
Okay.
So we're going to come back after the short break, and you guys are going to pitch your films from 1994. See you in a minute.
Excellent.
Everyone's made their choices. The year is going to be...
I'm still going.
Okay, Laurie's still going. But the year is 1994. Classic year.
There's a lot of choice in that year.
There were some pretty good films, actually.
Some absolute belters. Yeah.
I have to admit, when we chose that year, my initial reaction was, that's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
But then when we kind of started looking through it, and Sugar Babes.
Not even that, no. It was the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we say some ones that we're fairly sure we aren't going to pick? Ace Ventura came out that year.
Yeah,
Detective.
Yeah, I don't think any
Also
of us had
The
a
Mask.
particular interest in
Ace
that.
Ventura. I've got a guy, a mate called Dominic, who watches Ace Ventura, and I'm not a big fan of the film, but when I watch it with him, I love it because the way he laughs is such a beautiful thing, and he gets it. Do you know? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, just from the conversations that we had earlier about where we're coming from and the kind of movies that we like, I don't know what anyone else has picked, but I'm pretty sure nobody in here has picked The Lion King. Would that be right?
Or indeed Return of Jafar.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's time. So I think we should hear your choices. All right, so
Right.
Nico.
Yeah, what I'd like to go with is Shallow Grave.
No.
Shallow.
That's
Is that
my
what you?
choice as well.
That's
yeah.
what you picked.
Yeah.
Ah, well, I'm sorry, mate. I kind of beat you to it.
Do I have to pick another one?
Can I? No, you don't have to pick another one.
Okay.
And can I say that is the most contrived no ever? Well, while we were doing this, we were talking about what films we might choose off the camera, off the audio, and we decided to run that again, and it sounded really fake. So I'm just.
It's a long time since I did drama and theatre.
No fake this.
Could we just have it again now? If I say
we try
to
it
you,
one more time?
We're going to try to do it, and if you could do it with a proper certain amount of feeling that really gives it a real edge,
Okay.
maybe a heart-wrenching, a cry from the soul.
I'm with you.
Yeah, because I was thinking we could possibly go for Shallow Grave.
Oh!
I got it
my
first.
choice.
You lose.
All right, good stuff. So Nico's gone for Shallow Grave. Wyndham, what have you chosen?
I did actually pick Shallow Grave.
Oh, right, okay. Have you got another
Genuinely.
one? Backup choice.
The backup one would be Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Awesome.
Ah!
Is that right?
For God's sakes! Talk to me about Pulp Fiction, and I'm going to talk about Pulp Fiction. I would like to hear about what you say about Shallow Grave first.
All right, hold on a minute. So you've got to go with another choice. What's your backup choice?
I don't think I have a backup. Actually, well, no, I'm going to go for a film that I haven't even seen.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm going to be that bold.
Yeah.
And we're right in thinking In the Mouth of Madness.
Yes.
John Carpenter came out that year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for that. I've seen the beginning. I was drunk. I fell asleep. So I'm about 15 minutes in. It looks great. We've got Sam Neill in there. It looks really, really great. It's fucked up. The editing's fucked. It looks really, really good. So I'm going to say that one.
All right. And so Nico, you went for Shallow Grave. Why Shallow Grave? Tell it to me.
I'll tell you what. I don't know how to say it actually, but Shallow Grave, it really summed up an era. I think that's really what it was for me. It really captured an era. It's got a lovely local feel to it. It's definitely got that Brit era of the time. I think it just stands out as of a film from that year that is definitely placed at that time.
Yeah.
So if we were to watch it, if we were to review it, we'd really be going through a time travel experience.
I get you. I hear you, brother. Win.
Nice. Well, Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction for me is one of those films that 94 I would have been 18 when that came out, and it was a completely different type of film than I'd ever seen before. The kind of out of time editing of it, the casting of it. It was the relaunch of such legends as John Travolta and Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis particularly, I have a soft spot for, or certainly I did back then. I think that as a Tarantino movie, the dialogue is amazing. I think it's brutal. I think it's surprising in lots of different ways, but it's funny in some of the ways it's surprising, and it is Samuel L. Jackson being a bad motherfucker.
All right.
And the overall vibe of it was just kind of quirky and sexy and dynamic and in your face. And it's interesting that you mentioned that John Travolta, because he's had a comeback and not really gone away since then to an extent.
Yeah.
You kind of forget about the fact that he had just dropped off the scene.
Yeah.
And when he came back, it was like, oh my God, that's John Travolta. He's completely different than all these roles we've seen him in before.
His face was.
Well, yeah.
But then
and it
there
gets
is
differenter and differenter.
Yeah, but again, so knowingly you give them that dance moment.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
absolute connectivity.
All right, then.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make my choice. And
What am I allowed to say?
You've
I've said
already
mine.
talked about yours.
But I didn't do my pitch though.
It sounded like a pitch to me.
Well,
You
okay.
might fall
Well,
asleep.
this is a film that I probably am right in thinking that. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Have you seen In the Mouth of Madness?
No.
Have you seen In the Mouth
No,
of
I
Madness?
haven't,
I haven't seen The Mouth of Madness. I am taking such a leap of faith, and I know this is a film that we need to see. It's one of Carpenter's strangest, oddest, probably least seen films. Let's have a look. Let's all have a good little look at it.
Oh, mate. Right. Okay. Well, I've seen all three films, and I was going to go with Shallow Grave, but you just turned my opinion.
Well, I'm really glad because even though I came up with Shallow Grave, I want to see that film.
Yeah,
In the
Yeah,
Mouth
actually,
of
Yeah,
Madness.
definitely.
It's
That's
gotta
the
be
film
that
that I want to see.
So, if you want to join in at home, watch In the Mouth of Madness. We're going to be reviewing it and scoring it out of 100 next time. So I think that kind of wraps us up this time. I hope you've enjoyed listening to our bile. I've been James.
I'm Nikko.
I've been and remain Wyndham.
I'm Laurie, but what was Jamie Lee Curtis?
See you next time.